All right, hello everyone. Welcome to Monday the 25th of January for another The Other Subject. And today we're talking about mental health and stress management. I do have a presentation up. I'm just going to share that screen and then we will get on with it. We will go ahead. Also, every now and then I might pause because I might take a sip of tea, because I think it's important that whenever we're talking about anything that could induce any kind of stress, that we want to, sip some tea along with it. Delicious. So then, here we go. I'm going to share the screen and we will get moving. Where are you? There you are. Fantastic. Boom. Okay, excellent. So, mental health and stress management. Let us get on with it. Let us move forward. So we wanted to put this together because not only is now a stressful time, life is stressful enough. Let's be honest with ourselves here. None of us were asked to be born, and yet here we are, alive, existing, being pushed through this world without technically having actually not consented to any of this. So, of course, life itself is already quite stressful. And then with COVID and quarantine, lockdown, and so on and so on, it just continues to compound upon itself. So what we need to do is obviously identify all of these different things and then see what we can do to carefully manage all of these different things as they're coming at us one by one. Because, of course, either we're at risk of experiencing overwhelm and shutting down and not being able to do even the things that we want to do, which would make us feel happy and better, because it'd be ruined by all the stress, or we simply implode upon ourselves. And that's not what we want, right? We want to be able to get through this life, because on the other side of stress can be a wonderful, peaceful, content time. And that's what we want to be able to aim for a little bit. So first of all, what is stress? Stress can be defined as the degree to which you feel overwhelmed or unable to cope as a result of pressures that are unmanageable. So the degree to which, now what that's suggesting is that, or unable to cope, right? We're looking at the degree to which, because there can be a very low level degree. And I think this is something also that we want to be aware of. Stress is something that we can experience on a very gentle level. And that's not to say that we should avoid it at all costs. I mean, there are people who commit their entire lives to avoiding stress. And even that, to a degree, can be argued is kind of unhealthy, because human beings require a little bit of stress to get us moving. Sometimes stress is a motivator. But of course, it's just the right amount of stress and pressure we can be put under that actually gets us moving. But we have to decide where that line is drawn between, oh, I better get that done now. The stress is mounting. Let me get that done now because I'm responding to that. And, oh God, there's so much stress. It's too late for me to act on that now. I can't do it anymore. It's much like, and I'm going to put it in this context, I think this makes a lot of sense. And it's the most common thing I think that happens to all of us, right? So when we need the toilet, right? I know we've all gone through this experience. We need the toilet, right? We've got to go for a wee. And we're sat in a conversation with someone, and we have become aware. We're sat and they're talking to us, right? They're talking to us. And we've become aware that we need the toilet. Now, let's say we're not the kind of person who feels comfortable. Maybe there's a little bit of social anxiety in there that kind of goes, oh, I feel awkward telling this person I need the toilet, or I feel awkward cutting the conversation short. So we sit there and we allow that need to go to the toilet to grow and grow and grow and grow. And all the while this is happening, we're very aware that we need the toilet and we need to go to the toilet, but we're also stuck in this conversation with this person, right? And we're like, okay, when are they going to finish the sentence? Next time they finish the sentence, here we go. They're coming around to the end and they finish the sentence, and then you make another point that isn't to do with the toilet at all. You make another point and they go, yeah, it's funny you say that because, and then they keep talking. You're like, no, I'm trapped here. Obviously, I've gone through this myself far too often. Certainly in the past. Oh, is that my cat? Hang on a minute. I'm going to let Dexter... Oh, God. 1 second. I'm going to let Dexter in the room. Come on, buddy. Yeah, I hear you. That's right. Come on. Come and say hello to everyone. As you know you love it in here. Are you coming up? You got plans? If you got plans, are you... Come on. Come on. Well, that's not going to help anyone, is it? It's not going to help. You've just got to come up here. There we are. See, now life is better, isn't it? There we go. You're right now. Just in case you're watching this on the replay, you might as well say hello to my cat, Dexter. There he is. Excellent. You might not see me. I don't know if I'm playing in the middle, in the little box, but just in case, there he is. Do you have any words for anyone while we're here? Do you want to say anything? Got any words? Go on. Yeah. There we got some words for you guys. There we go. He always loves to join me whenever I do these. So welcome, Dexter, to the video. So we're currently needing the toilet. See, I've left it hanging. And we reach a point where we're like, I really, really, really should say something now. Okay. And I got better at this over time. Actually, I'd even interrupt the mid-sentence and go, I'm really sorry. Let me just pop to, I'll be right back. So I go to the toilet. But I'd always wait until it got to a desperate point where it was almost too late, where the stress could mount to the place where I'm like, I'm just going to have to let go right here in front of this person. This is the worst thing that could happen to me. I never did happen. But that's a kind of description of stress. We have a place where it's like a warning sign, like, oh, okay, I need to do that. Right, I can sense that there, that's there. It can mount to the place where it's like, okay, I really, really, really should do that, because if I don't do that, that's going to be pretty catastrophic. And then unfortunately, stress can reach that place where we're like, it's too late. The floodgates have opened. We're living in this reality now. It sucks. Life sucks. Everything's over. It's a great way that we've come to this analogy, but there we go. So it's important that we identify that there's a degree to which we feel overwhelmed, okay? And that can be a place of very, very, very little whelm, almost none, just a signal right the way up to, this is far too far gone, we're done here. And the sad part is, even in this GIF here with Stewie from Family Guy, you can see a reflection of very real physical responses to stress. And it could be, yes, lack of sleep, so bags under the eyes. We might find that our hair's not as healthy as it could be. We might find that we physically don't feel as good. We can obviously look not as good. There's so many things that can happen in our bodies that respond to stress in a really bad way. So here we go. Stress is the body's reaction to feeling threatened or under pressure. It's very common, very common. It can be motivating to help us achieve things in our daily life and can help us meet the demands of home, work, and family life. So sometimes, indeed, stress can help us get stuff done. It can. And the best example is either when we're hungry or when we need the toilet immediately. It's just suddenly like, oh, there it is. Let's go to the next slide. So here we go. Identifying healthy stress and damaging stress. This is really important as well. I'm sure you might sit there and you're watching this going, Dan, all of my stress is damaging. It is all over for me, Dan. Hang on a second. Let's just wait. Pause for a moment. With me and Dexter, let us just sit for a second and take pause. Are we taking a pause? We're taking a pause, aren't we, buddy? Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. We'll take a pause. So let's identify the two different ones, okay? First of all, stress is indeed a part of life. That is something that we have to come to terms with. But when we might, if we've responded to that going, oh God, that sucks, life sucks, blah, 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 we're probably confusing, again, unhealthy stress and healthy stress, right? Because if we're worried about the idea that stress is a part of life, then what we're thinking is that stress is only a bad thing that encompasses us and overwhelms us, okay? Either it's 0 or 100, and that's not true. Stress can be a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, right the way up to 100. So actually, it is a part of life, and we can get used to that depending on how we respond to it. We do need some stresses to get us out of bed. That's what gets us out of bed. It is a little bit of that mild, gentle, healthy stress that gets us out of bed. It's not always going to be that horrible, damaging stress. Because again, that damaging stress, which, you know, it could be part of almost like a depression, not depression exactly, but like, we'd stay in bed if we were that stressed. I know I have. I know I've had mornings where I've woken up and I've been so stressed about what's ahead of my day that I've stayed in bed. And then it's got to have like this other layer of stress put into it. Be like, no, you need to get out of bed. I'm like, ah. So yeah, like sometimes that little bit of stress helps us get out of bed. Because for example, I can stress myself out going, I need to get out of bed because I want to have my coffee so I can get my work in before I get to work. That'd be my stress in the morning. A little bit, a nudge, right? But here we go. Long-term negative stress can be bad for you. Long-term. Now, I could argue what long-term is. I'm not sure exactly what it would be. I don't know. But I would probably take a wild guess at long-term negative stress. Long-term being, let me take a guess at this. I don't, Well, okay, here's an interesting thing. Let me put it to you like this. If you have been, this is something that they suggest, some mental health experts suggest this. If you've been impacted by the same identifiable problem within your head for longer than 2 weeks, it requires checking out by a professional, right? It requires something. And again, that's not to say it's traumatic or anything like that. It's just that obviously it's not worked itself out, which means it's a persistent problem or something that could stick around. So it's worth checking out. So I would say that if you stressed about something for longer than 2 weeks, then yeah, it's probably having negative effects on you. Now, what I'm conscious of course, is now saying that, you know, if it's longer than 2 weeks, 2 weeks is a very short space of time in the big scheme of things. You're probably identifying a stress that you've had for years and years and years and years. And now maybe you're like, oh God, but no. Take it easy, because there's stresses that we can survive and we can deal with for long periods of time that we can also resolve after long periods of time. We can, all right? And if you're watching this now and you're like under the age of, I don't know, 70, then the chances are you're going to be okay. You're going to be just fine. So don't worry about it. Can you name 5 examples of positive stress? So actually what I'd like you to do here, now be honest with yourself, right? And sit with yourself, pause the video and ask yourself five examples of positive stress. Positive stress. Okay, when you unpause this, I'm going to count to 5 in my head while I sip my tea and stroke my cat. I pause it, think of 5 positive stresses. I'm going to think of 5, and then I'm going to share my 5 after this, all right? But you pause it now. Come right back to me. I'm going to be right here, okay? Okay, see you in a second. You're just so happy, aren't you, Bubby? Yes, you are. Spoiled little brat. Okay, that was longer than 5. I counted for much longer than 5. I took a bit of a longer break, but it's okay. So 5 examples of positive stress. Well, I'm going to give you one. Okay, positive stress. Positive stress to me is, yes, wanting to, and I think about it this way, is like, it's not positive because of what you need to do. Like, for example, working out, you know, stress myself to work out. I don't see that as the positive stress. Positive stress is kind of like, excuse me, trying to push yourself to get the edge on something. So, for example, when I am actually doing my workout, excuse me, my God, I am burping. I'm so sorry. I just had peanut butter Nutella on rice cakes. It was very good. Positive stress would be, for example, when I'm working out, and I always have a 3x8 workout regime, right? So 3 sets of 8 reps. And if I find myself getting to the end of the second set or third set, and I'm getting to the end of it and I'm really struggling, positive stress to me is pushing myself to achieve that last bit, right? And saying to myself, come on, man, you can do this, get it in, right? That would be one example of positive stress where I'm literally pushing myself to achieve more, okay? Another form of positive stress would be, let's say, I would say, let me think. I wasn't thinking. I was drinking my tea. I'm so bad. I'm sorry. I know. You paused it to have your time to think. I can't pause. I don't have the liberty of pausing it. Okay. So let me sit here and think. Positive stress. Okay. So actually, here's the thing. I'm at home right now, as you can tell, but my partner won't be back until later. So another positive stress for me is wanting to make sure that the house is in a good way for when they get back, so that, you know, they get home after a very long day of very stressful work that they have, very negatively stressful work they have, and we can just relax together. And that's another stress that I have, because it's one that's put on myself, that really comes to a case of, no, I really want that to happen. I would really like that to happen, because I want us to be in a good place when we have our evenings and stuff like that. So that would be 2 positive stresses. A third positive stress. Let me think. Oh yeah. So I'm working on my ability to stay off my phone, right? And certainly off mobile games. I've got a really bad thing with mobile games. I don't necessarily do the microtransactions. It's just, I love downloading free games, playing them until I need to spend money, and then deleting them. It's just something I love doing. So right now there's a game I'm really enjoying. Really, it's a great game. But I found a way to have it run in the background without me touching it. And when it's running in the background, I can't play it. I can't touch it. So actually what it does is it stops me from wanting to go on my phone too much. you know, and spend my time doing something when I could be doing something better. So it's a kind of stress that's actually more of a, what's the word? A habit changer of stress. Speaking of which, oh my God, I've forgotten the biggest one. So as of today, it's day 3 of no nicotine whatsoever. I smoked for 15 years. I vaped for about 2. I vaped for 2 years, 2.5. And now I'm completely, boop, I'm just going off nicotine altogether. This is day 3. The last 2 days have been very stressful. But actually, I've been telling myself, no, that this is the good stress, because this is the stress that's leaving your body because you're changing a habit into something more healthy and positive for you, right? This is something good for you. So let this stress be. And it's been hard, don't get me wrong. And I haven't like lost my temper or anything. I've been a bit of a d-hole, not gonna lie. But but I haven't like really lost it or anything. I'm certainly not falling off the wagon. So, you know, I've been all right, but I have felt those moments of real pressure and stress of being like, oh God, you just want to like scream out or have a vape or something like that. And I've not allowed it. So I consider that positive stress because it's moving me in a much healthier direction for sure. I've only given 4 really, but roll with it. Okay. I don't have the time to pause and think about these things. Now name 5 negative stresses. So this one you can probably do a lot easier. Pause the video again. I'm gonna have a sip of tea. I'm actually going to be able to do this a lot better. But for negative stress, 5 examples. I'm going to stroke my cat. Pause the video. Go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. So negative stress. Number 1 is definitely things like feeling you have to have everything done. Right. I know I mentioned earlier about getting the house tidy, but the thing is, there's not a lot for me to actually do. So I know I can do it. If I had a lot to do, and I was like, oh, I've got to do this and this and this and this, you know, I've got to cook dinner and then wash the dishes, which I've already done, vacuumed, already done, whatever, do the laundry, already done, stop it. I've got to feed the cat. You know, if I've got to do all these things and I don't have time, and I've got to do this, and then I'm going to make sure it's all done, and I don't have the time. That's negative stress, because what I'm doing is asking more of myself than I can give. Right? That's negative stress, because I'm putting pressure on myself to try and achieve something that I could never achieve. So that's an example of negative stress. Another example of negative stress is similar, but in many different facets. So asking more of yourself than you can be in this moment in time. And this is connected to like social media and this idea of false perfection on the internet that we compare ourselves to. Why am I not like this? Why am I not successful like them? Why haven't I got money like them? Why am I not pretty like them? Negative stress. No, ill. Stop it. And we go into this later on. So it's actually a case of not necessarily comparing. Well, it's one, not comparing yourselves to them, but actually, if you really find you can't stop consuming that type of stuff, or maybe the type of things you like to watch, you know, happen to have like pretty seemingly perfect people in it, then make sure you find space on your social media feed, in your life, in any way that really hits home. For one, that actually our imperfections is really truly what makes us amazing as people, right? The things that aren't great supposedly about us makes us fantastic and powerful and amazing, right? Number 2, actually being perfect or trying to be perfect is more stress than not feeling like you are. That seriously, it's more stressful. Don't try and be like those people, because trust me, they're experiencing far more stress trying to live up to this standard than thinking that they're not enough, because they will also think they're not enough. And then on top of that, they're trying to be that. Stop it. No. Also a place where we understand that there's obviously certain parts of radio, music, TV, social media, etc., which you already know about, but people can know something but not really know something. That all of that is made up, it's fabricated, right? So people will spend some time, and I've seen on Instagram, Facebook back in the day, TikTok today, all of it. People probably spend more time setting up for the video than they did actually putting the video together, right? That's probably why they look perfect and all that stuff. It's because they spent more time getting ready for the video than they did making the video. And that's not me judging them. That is me just making an observation as to how they go about their work. That's it. That is all it is. I'm not mad at them. They have their thing that they do, right? And that's that. But you got to understand that's a lifestyle. It's kind of like the way that we look at like fitness and so on and diet. It took me a long time to realize that, you know, the whole like flat stomach, you know, beautiful shape, beautiful figure, healthy skin, all that stuff. That is a full-blown life. That is a job. That is a career. That is not just something that you just do on the side of a 9-to-5 job and you have your kids and yada yada. No, that is a full-time job. These people are paid to look like that, which means when we're off to our 9-to-5, they're going to the gym. When we're getting home from our 9-to-5, they're then, you know, promoting themselves. There's a 9-to-5 job doing that. It is not something that can be done on top of a life. They make it look like that's what they're doing, but actually what they're doing is they're selling their selves, and the work they put into themselves in the gym while we're all working in the office, right? So just bring that into your mind. That's their job. That's their career. Okay. At least then you could be aware that if you wanted to, you really, really, really wanted to, which is fine. Like, cool, go for it. If that's what you want to do, go for it. Then make sure that you would acknowledge that that's going to be your career. Going to the gym, looking fine, and getting yourself on TV and selling stuff. That's it. That's it, right? But that's because that's that world. Very different thing. Other negative stresses. Massive is lack of sleep. I mean, it's kind of like stress on top of stress. It's a self-induced stress. So lack of sleep is another negative stress. Our body needs to rest. I think more. It's one of the greatest cons of the 21st century that we were told that technology was going to make life easier for us, and we were going to have, that's how it was genuinely sold to us, by the way, with the whole internet age and social media and technology. Bear in mind, when I was born and growing up, we were kind of slowly merging into that. When I was a kid, the newfangled technology was one of those gigantic desktop monitor, you know, kind of off-white thingamajiggies that literally weighed about half a kilo, not half a kilo, not even a ton. They weighed a lot. They were heavy. So that was me. That was my growing up, and we had dial-up internet and stuff like that. And I remember we were told, there was this idea that we were told we were going to have more time to ourselves, when actually we don't. We don't have more time to ourselves. We have not got that, and yet here we are. And the reason that was sold to us is because we were acknowledging that we needed more time to ourselves. We needed more downtime. We needed more time to relax, when actually we've gotten more stressed. And of course, this is a sign of how Gen Z, the culture of Gen Z, while you may be the most powerful, most educated, most, what's the word I'm looking for? Socially conscious generation of our time, you are also some of the most stressed. Because, of course, what are your future prospects? What availability is there for future prospects? You know, all these things that are going on. So actually more downtime, more rest is genuinely what could be helpful. But negative stress, unfortunately, could be lack of sleep. Genuinely, this is a much bigger topic than I thought I was going to go into. We're like 25 minutes in, and I've not really got into this much. Another negative stress. Let's think. Oh my God. Oh Lord. The relationships thing. I could talk about this forever. Ay. Like, I've never vibed with this myself. I've really gone full on like podcast mode here. I'm not really in a lesson because no one's here. Wait, let me just check. Yeah, man, no one's here. I'm just spitting off the dome. So, relationships. What I want to say this a million times over, and I'll say it in every space I can, whatever in this context. We tolerate far more than we realize we should be tolerating in relationships. And when I say that, what I don't mean is, you know, we should get our partners to change, and we should say no, put a foot down and get them to change, and yada, yada, yada. No, actually, what I'm saying is we think a lot of things are acceptable in relationships that are really not. And we think it to the point where you might think of some things right now, but there's still stuff in there you're thinking is acceptable that really is not acceptable in relationships. Seriously. And it's not worth the stress. There is no, in fact, I'll put it this way. There are very, very, very few partners that we have that are actually worth the stress. And those partners, some of us never actually meet. And when we do meet them, sometimes we squander them. So we take advantage of them, right? very few partners are actually worth the stress. And when I say worth the stress, I don't mean the full-blown pulling your hair out stress, because with those partners, you never get there, right? You don't even get there. I honestly, I'm not going to tell you about my relationships, but I'm certainly looking at the relationships I see, and that's with students, with staff, with adults, with people out there, with TV. It drives me mad. We put ourselves through so much stress for the wrong people, and it is sad. It is so sad. And then we project all of this nonsense out into the world. Guys, Lord, first of all, ask yourself really, truly what you want in a relationship. Find that relationship, have that relationship. If it works, fantastic. If not, find out for yourself what didn't work in that relationship and why. And don't give it all like, because they were this and they were that and they were this and they were that. Ask yourself, where did I go wrong? Where? You know, what might I have done differently? Maybe it's my expectations from the off. Maybe my what I wanted wasn't actually what I wanted. So let me refresh. Let me find that again, you know? But if it doesn't work out, that's absolutely fine. Your value has not lessened. Nothing about you has fundamentally changed apart from how you see how you want a relationship to be. All right. And then set that new precedent. Go and find that relationship. Boom, 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 bish, bash, bosh. All right. But do not under any circumstance accept things that are unacceptable in relationships. And certainly don't find yourself dating the same bloody person over and over and over again, because, hey, over a certain amount of time, eventually, that's not going to be anyone else's problem. It really is not. You've got to look at what's going on with you and how you are moving through your relationships. Okay. So make sure you ask yourself every time, yeah, has this worked? Why has it worked? In fact, you can even do it in a relationship. That would be the best thing to do. So don't wait for it to end, maybe in a relationship. And this can be a true test. This can be a true test right here. If you are at a place, I'm really going off on one here. I'm very aware that I'm talking about mental health and stress, but I'm just off. I'm going. I got time to talk. Do it in a relationship. Sit your partner down sometimes and be like, what do you like about our relationship? What don't you like about our relationship? Right? And really, really have it out with them. Be prepared for things you might not want to hear, and let them know that they need to be prepared for stuff they might not want to hear. Right? But still, sit down with them and talk to them about it, because that's where also you can go, right, okay, am I willing to make this change for them? Are they willing to make this change for me? Do I really want them to make a change for me? Or do I actually really like them the way they are? Because I'll tell you right now, there's a fundamental rule in my relationship right now, and I will share this with you, is that we acknowledged very early on that we will let the other person do whatever it is they want to do with their life, as long as they let the other person do whatever they want with their life, right? Of course, we shared our values, our goals, our ideals. So we knew that we were a match, and we knew that we were going in the same direction. We knew we'd make a great team. So we knew that neither of us would like fall too far off the path that we wouldn't love each other at all. So we're fine there. But that's the rule. You do you, I'll do me, and we'll do this together. If it looks like you're falling off, I will call that out, and you will explain it to me. If it looks like I'm falling off, you will call that out, and I will explain it to you. But what we're not gonna do is we're not gonna ask each other, oh, wear this, or wear that, oh, maybe dress like this, or maybe talk like this, or maybe listen to this, or maybe go there, or maybe no. It's a very strict rule we have in our relationship, and I'll tell you now, it is wonderful. It's a fantastic relationship to have. But check in every now and then, by all means. It's tea time. Oh God, I feel like we should just call this tea time. Tea time with Dan. Okay, so here we go. Here's some examples that have been given here, right? Types of stress. So eustress. Eustress or positive stress occurs when your level of stress is high enough to motivate you to move into action to get things accomplished. Just like I said, right? Just like I said. And then negative stress, distress, or negative stress occurs when your level of stress is either too high or too low, and your body and or mind begins to respond negatively to the stressors. All right, so again, it's that middle ground. Not too high, not too low. Just right. Just right. So here we go. Let's go on to social media stress management. All right. So first of all, how do we think our social media affects stress and mental health, right? And I have a feeling I can picture the answers you're going to throw at me right now, stuff that's coming up in your head. Immediately, I imagine you're thinking things like, it's the constant expectation, it's the anxiety that you're not good enough, and it's the perfection you see online, and even the fact that people are doing things and da 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 da. And that does have an effect on our mental health and our stress. You're seeing people doing things. Meanwhile, 9 times out of 10, you're on your bed or in your kitchen or whatever, just lying there scrolling. And you're like, man, these people out here doing all this and I'm doing nothing. Forgetting the fact that at some point, those people on the end of the phone are literally where you are 5 minutes after they've finished recording and they've done everything. So, we forget that part. Oh, hello. You're shouting at me. Oh, wicked. How it creates unrealistic expectations? Well, we know that as well, right? People spend a lot of time looking good for the camera. Namely, I again, as someone who uses TikTok as a kind of an observer of TikTok, I found that there are still people out there who really don't go with, and this, I don't know, this might be a reflection of people I follow and who I'm like looking at, is that the people I look at don't actually doll themselves up for the most part. I'm not seeing a lot of people with a lot of makeup on and looking perfect. I really don't actually see a lot of that at all. But I know they're up there. So that's it. But what that does to me is it humanizes everything that I'm communicating with on the internet, and also really sets the precedent of when I do see someone who looks perfect in whatever right. It really, really stands out, and I'm like, wow, like that person really has, put the work in for this video. And I don't see that as a kind of like, wow, well done them. It's just an acknowledgement, because then when I'm able to come back to the people who, again, don't really care about that, then I'm kind of feeling a bit more relaxed. And I'm like, oh yeah, of course. Like that's how we look. That's how it is. That's the natural form right there. That's real beauty right there. That's how we are. And I can relax in that. I can really relax in that. It's much better. And how do we manage it? Well, I think I've just explained it, actually. One of the easiest ways to manage it is to not necessarily cut off all the people that you follow or look at, but actually just diversify your viewing pool. Diversify your feeds. Diversify your snaps. I don't know how Snapchat works still to this day, and I don't know if I ever will. But yeah, diversify it. Follow people who are a bit more raw. Follow people who are real. Follow people who are authentic. Follow people who literally make you feel at home, right? They don't make you feel anything but comfortable and safe and at home. That's it. Find those people and follow them. Because the more you communicate with them, it may not be a world-changing thing, but you might just notice that actually you're just not as stressed anymore. You're not as anxious, right? You're just calm, you're cool, you're chill, and you're able to engage with information a lot more. And the chances are actually you'll be able to engage with the information a lot more effectively as well, because you won't have that thing going off in the background of your head. Other things you could do is, of course, set time aside for when you want to be on that or not, and restrict with it, right? Have a social media period, right? I know you probably heard of that one before. It's probably cliche, but hey, there's a reason it keeps getting suggested, right? Just give that a go. Try it. Try something else. And what I would suggest, if it's not a case of simply putting the phone down, find something else worth picking up. Find anything else worth picking up. Is it a book? Is it a hobby? Is it your pets? Whatever it is. Give your pet, stroking time instead of social media time. Watch a TV show. Watch a documentary. Anything. Find something to do during that period of time. Anything at all. So this is Govinda. Govinda's got a little thing in it. Oh, I love the way that's worked. The little red boundary we put around here matches up with the little recording boundary on the screen. Good work, people. Love it when stuff falls together. Social media is one shiny and glossy veneer that perpetuates and creates a false internet or digital persona that further isolates the individual from A, reality, and B, understanding their individual nature. It's very true. Very true. Thank you, Gigi. Powerful stuff. So, oh, hello. Look at these arrows up here. Love it. So the correlation between mental health and the overconsumption of social media. So there's a video here that I think we'll be able to play. I might have to share the video, but hang on. Let's go. Should we go through these first? Can you list, I think, of 5 examples of social media being stressful? Well, I think we've talked about those already. The feedback loop from hell. So this one, I believe, touches on a real problem with how social media actually works, right? Because obviously the internet curates itself based on what it thinks you want to see. And if you're not consciously using social media, and this is the point I always like to make, everyone demonizes social media, but what we forget is that social media is a robot. It is AI. So it's actually only doing what we tell it to do. And so if it's making us stressed stressing us out and we respond to the stress, it's only going to respond back to the stress by giving us more of what we think we're wanting, right? So we need to govern that and take over that and go, no, actually, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this. I want to see this, 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 and this. And then behave accordingly, behave as such, because social media will spot that. So the feedback loop from hell is just that. You go on social media, you look at things, the internet will think, oh, you like that. Let me give you more of it. And boom, next thing you know, you're stuck in this place of scrolling through endless bits of material that you don't even know you like or not. You just were interested in something at one point. I'll tell you this story now about TikTok and how dangerous that became there. Very, very quick on TikTok, actually. So I'm very much for kind of human rights, and I'm very much for equal rights and so on and so forth. So I watch a lot of that kind of stuff online, and I watch a lot of that stuff on TikTok as well. A lot of incredible people sharing some really, really good information online. It's insane. And so I was scrolling through my For You page, and, you know, great stuff, great stuff, great stuff. And then one video came up and I was confused about what it was. And it just happened to be a guy who was part of the men's rights activists, and not the good ones, put it that way, not the good ones. And I didn't know who they were, and because obviously I'd never heard them before, and I was like watching the video going, what is this? Who's this talking? And they got to the end of the video and I realized it was, and I was like, ew, and I scrolled past it. 3 scrolls later, and TikTok shows me another video of similar ilk. Not the same guy, but I tapped into it quicker because I noticed they were talking about a similar subject in a slightly different way, but still a little bit ill towards women. And I was just like, oh no, this isn't good. And it was that quickly that TikTok had seen that I'd watched an entire video on one topic, and then 3 videos later was like, here's another video I found for you that you might like. It was that quick. And of course, if I'd watched that one in full, it would have showed me another, until eventually it would have gone, oh, I see you're liking these. Let me fill your feed up with this sort of material. And next thing you know, I'm being pulled, you know, if I'm not aware, I'm being pulled down the line of watching a load of men effectively complain about women on the internet. Sucks. Not what I want at all. Ew, 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 ew. That's gross. So that's the feedback loop from hell. And you're stuck there unless you decide to drastically change. Sometimes on some social media platforms, I've deleted my entire account just because I've grown and changed in such a way that I just don't want to see any of the stuff that I used to see. So I would delete my entire account and just start again and go, right, what instead of trying to go through my whole list of like, you know, people I follow, which is long, let me just delete the whole thing, start again. Because there's nothing saying you can't do that. Literally nothing saying you can't do that. In fact, it's quite refreshing to start again. It's really nice. Because you kind of blank slate and go, right, who do I actually want to hear from? It's really nice. Thoughts and feelings from social media that create stress, creates feelings of jealousy, low self-worth, negative, and sadness and anxiety, and the negative behavior kicks in. The negative behavior kicks in, you jump back to social media to make yourself feel better. There we go. So let's see if we can watch this video. Let's see how long it is first. I'm going to click on it and see what happens. Bear with us. If I stop sharing it first, there we go. I'm going to stop sharing first and then see how long this video is going to be. Oh, 4 minutes. Oh, it's a message from Lady Gaga. How exciting. Right, okay. Woohoo! What a good time. Okay, wait, where are we? There we go. Okay, here we go. I think you can see that. Oh, wait, no, hang on. Wait. Stop. A second. Let's do that properly. Include the computer sound. That's what I wanted to do. I'm doing this all wrong, guys. I've just realized I'm doing this all terribly, terribly wrong. Right. Yeah, now we're there. Yes. Now we're sharing the screen. Good. Then we are doing this. Yes. No, we're not there. Oh, Lord. How am I so bad at this? It's all gone wrong. What's happening? Where is it? Where's the screen? There you are. Yes. Right. Okay. Wait, am I sharing? Guys, I feel like I'm just going to have a bit of a difficult time here. Right. Include the computer sound. Lady Gaga video. Okay. Here we go. Is that right? Am I doing this right? Am I just sharing my screen? I don't know.
I said this earlier and I'll say it again. I invented myself, Lady Gaga. I curated my life to be an expression of my pain. This is how I overcame my depression, is by creating somebody that I felt was stronger than me. But once I went through all sorts of changes, my career taking off, becoming more isolated, you know, nothing was able to fix how I was genetically made. I was born this way. So how do we now, knowing all of that, no matter how much success you have, no matter how many opportunities, fame, fortune, no matter how many people accept you to your face, the person that really needs to accept you is you. And that's why we're here today, is we're going to talk about why it's important to accept yourself, why it's important to empower yourself, and why it's important that emotional intelligence is taken seriously. And I really loved what the Chancellor said. She said, we can't only have an academic standard. We have to have an emotional and a social standard. So I took notes at Yale. Is that I realized that part of my identity is saying no to things I don't want to do. And you are all in school and you all have a lot of teachers and a lot of people around you that tell you all day what you have to do, but it is your right to choose what you do and don't do. It is your right to choose what you believe in and what you don't believe in. It is your right to curate your life and your own perspective. You are not here to be a puppet for Yale. That's not what they want. Am I wrong? That's not what they want. What they want, I believe, is a thoroughbred kind of passion. And that comes from an extreme amount of integrity and knowing who you are. And I have had to make decisions like, why am I unhappy? Okay, Stephanie Gaga hybrid person, why are you unhappy? Why is it that you want to quit music a couple years ago? It's like, well, I really don't like selling these, fragrances, perfumes. I don't like wasting my time spending days just shaking people's hands and smiling and taking selfies. It feels shallow to my existence. I have a lot more to offer than my image. I don't like being used to make people money. I feel sad when I'm overworked and that I've just become a money-making machine and that my passion and my creativity take a back seat. That makes me unhappy. So what did I do? I started to say, no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. I'm not taking that picture. I'm not going to that event. I'm not standing by that because that's not what I stand for. And slowly but surely, I remembered who I am. And then you go home and you look in the mirror and you're like, yes, I can go to bed with you every night. Because that person, I know that person. That person has balls. That person has integrity. That person has an opinion. That person doesn't say yes. That person doesn't get a text from somebody and say, oh my God, they wrote this and they sent this emoji. Should I write this back? What do you think? Is that okay to say? Are they going to like me if I say that? Should I say something different? This is the age that we live in. We're not actually communicating with each other. We are unconsciously communicating lies. I want to explode that today and break that with all of you as much as possible. And hello. That's what I would say. So my long answer to that question is that I check in with myself throughout the day and I say, do I really want to do this? And if the answer is no, I don't do it. And you shouldn't either.
Best things at the foundation.
All right. Thank you, Gaga. Thank you so much for bringing us that info. We love it. We love it. Some of you may not be a fan of Lady Gaga. It's fine. Sure. Cool. I think she's all right. She's cool, but you don't have to be a fan. You don't have to be a fan of someone to understand that what they're saying can be powerful. I mean, there's plenty of people that actually I've got some really powerful lessons from that, I've never listened to their music or never watched films they've been in or whatever, but they've said things and I've been like, that's actually pretty dope. So you don't have to like them to respect them or understand where they're coming from. So yeah, I think that really speaks to it. We must be conscious of who we're communicating with and how we're communicating with them, and really check in with ourselves. It's something that I do far more often as well, because also being ourselves, which is a topic that we will get into, really can be powerful. But I want to be conscious with you guys at the moment and say that when people say be yourself or being ourselves or being authentic and stuff, I will say that I could understand why people would hear that and groan and cringe, because actually I've also been on the other side of hearing that and thinking, what the hell does that mean? That's such a nothing statement. It's empty, it's vapid, it's frustrating. And it is. I think without the proper explanation, it becomes something that just falls out of our mouths and really sucks to hear. So I will want to go into an element of and actually maybe run a workshop on actually understanding being yourself. I don't know if I call it that, because people would probably run away from it like, but yeah, I do want to do something on that. So here we go. Being connected is a big part of our lives, but if you're seeing stuff online which makes you feel angry, sad, worried, stressed, or annoyed, this can build up and start having a negative impact on your life. So true. For example, you might start worrying more about how you look or what you're missing out on. If you ever feel overwhelmed by the online world, unable to switch off, or find it difficult to cope, you're not alone. We all struggle to keep our online world positive sometimes. So clean your feed. I talked about this before, right? How do the posts you see make you feel, right? How do they make you feel? Because if you go through each one of the people you're following or each things you see and you go, how do I actually feel about this? Am I feeling jealous? Is it making me bitter? Is it making me feel like less than who I am right now? Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Even if they're a comedian, there are funny people out there who don't actually make you feel bad about yourself. Believe it or not, they exist. They're real. Go and search them. Go and hunt them down. You know, hashtag comedy, hashtag laugh, whatever. I don't know how TikTok works. I think because I've already kind of made a feed that works for me. I don't know how to do this anymore. So yeah, but honestly, explore. Go out and find people that are funny or cool, that make you feel good about yourself, right? And maybe even I know again on TikTok you can follow the people that you like. You can follow the people that the people you like follow. There you go. You can do that. So yeah, that's it. Clean it up. Manage it. Understand it as well. That's a really big one. Understand what you're looking at. Understand what that thing might be turning you into. There's a huge thing that I want to go into at some point about how social media, namely in the last 12 months, has actually been a huge tool to radicalize people towards racism and bigotry and misogyny. It's been a huge move online as well. So while all the BLM protests have been going on and people have been thinking that that's been a huge problem with racism and so on, and some people have thought this, actually what's been going on is, honestly, on the internet, young people in the UK are just being radicalized into white nationalism and white supremacy and so on and so forth. And so it's really important that we start to get to understand exactly what we're consuming in social media, because it happens to, and actually what I was talking about earlier was an example of how easily it can take place. We watch one video and think, oh, you know, what a silly video, I don't want to watch anymore. And then they'll show us another one. And if we watch that one, they'll show us another one, and da-da-da-da. There's also the infamous YouTube pipeline, or I think it's alt-right pipeline, if you Google that as well. There's a pipeline that's been tried and tested on the internet that takes people from seemingly innocuous, innocent videos of gaming videos and stuff into a path of, again, heavy, deep misogyny and white nationalism. So it's important that we become conscious of what we consume. Simply, be okay with telling people that you get overwhelmed with information and that you will take your time responding. So that's, of course, with regards to people sending you messages and stuff like that and your notifications, your phone blowing up. You've got to give it time. You've got to give yourself time. You are not a slave to your phone. You're not a slave to the people who are trying to get a hold of you. Actually, sometimes what can be powerful is, and it's funny, actually, it's a kind of rebellion that can be empowering. Obviously, pick your moments, right? If someone's calling you saying, you know, I've had to go to the hospital, it's an emergency. It's an emergency. Get in touch with them. But genuinely, to the point of, if I'd even say, if someone said, you know, I'm upset right now, can you talk? It's actually perfectly within your rights to be like, you know, ask yourself, do I have the capacity to talk to this person right now? Can I? Because sometimes you don't. Sometimes you really aren't. Sometimes you're in a bad place yourself. Ask yourself, like, do I actually have the capacity to have this conversation right now? And the answer might be no. And that's okay, because that person might appreciate you being like, I'm really sorry, but I'm not in a good place either. And I don't feel like I could support you in the way that you need it, but I really hope that you do find support. You know what I mean? Like, I really hope you do find that. I hope you understand. I'd rather someone said that to me. You know what I mean? I'd rather someone said that to me than be like, yeah, what's up? And like spoke to me with their own problems. Because for all I know, I could be out like unloading my problems in front of them, and that might set them off where they might have a go at me because they're also going through something, right? So like I want to make sure I want to reach out. I want to be able to have someone reach out to me, but at the same time, I always want to make sure that I'm okay to be reached out to. Yeah, because otherwise, yeah, I wouldn't want to have a conversation with someone that's going to cause further harm because I'm not in a good way. And I've done it before. I've said to people like, I can't right now. Now is not a good time. But do you want to talk about it tomorrow or another time? Can we do it then? You know, it's absolutely fine to do that. But it gives me the space. And sometimes when it's literally like, hey, do you want to talk? I'll be like, not right now. Nope. Simple. No, I don't want to talk right now. Like, and that's fine. It's not because anything bad. I just don't. I'm having a good time not talking to anyone. It's not personal. I'm just having a good time not talking to anyone. So now I'm good. Thanks for offering. I'm good. It's not personal, you know. But be with that. Allow yourself. It's empowering as hell. I think we did a session. The last session we talked about the power of no. The power of no is incredibly empowering. It's so satisfying to give someone a no, I can't. It really is. And it's sad that we get to that place where it's actually empowering to say that, no, I can't. Obviously, we don't want to be selfish, like super selfish D-holes about it, but actually it can be powerful. No, I can't get that done in the time that you've asked. No, I can't give you that time right now. No, I can't. No, I'm not the only person who could get this done. And if it was that much of an emergency, why is it being asked to be right now at this time? No, I can't. That last example was a bit more work related for professionals out there if you're watching. So yeah, switch your phone off by a certain time. I know Govinda practices this. Good old Gigi, he does this. He says he'll turn his phone off by 8 p.m. So even I can't get in touch with him after that time. He just turns it off. He leaves it. And I don't think he turns his phone on until 8 p.m. in the morning or something like that, 7:30 or something. So yeah, he has a practice with that. I'm not there yet, but I certainly have times where I will absolutely like purposefully go, phone goes down, face down. So even if someone texts me or if it lights up, I don't see it. Face down on the table, it's gone away. I need to get better at that. I'm not going to lie. I've got a bit worse lately, but I'm still trying to practice that and be conscious of it for sure. Understand and understand what you see on social media is not always real. Yeah, of course. We've gone through this, right? It's not real. It's going to be fabricated. It's going to be fake for a lot of the time. Let's not assume that everything we see on the internet is some form of wonderful reality that we're just never going to have or can't manifest ourselves, because actually they created that, right? They created the makeup and the setting and the clothes and everything. Like they did that. They fabricated it and put it together. It's not just their natural lives. Like they didn't wake up looking like that. So let's just take a step back. You'll make me elbow you in the head, Dexter. You just jumped on my lap. Unbelievable. Okay, great. We're here now. So how can you tell yourself if you're hitting your limits, and how could you manage these responses? Where are we up to? Okay, cool. How could you tell you're hitting your limits, and how could you manage these responses? So I think one of the things that it's hard for me to be able to explain. So I'll put it like this. Go back to the toilet analogy, right? We know when we're hitting our limits, when the thoughts, the response thoughts are becoming more prominent and louder. That's, for me, that's how I know when I'm kind of like, okay, I really need to act on this. Or if I find there's a dramatic change in my thinking because of that thing. So for example, right? Okay, look, your claws, look, Dexter, your claws are not welcome here. Okay, buddy? I'm really sorry. I know you want to get cozy and get stroked. I know. I love you too. I know. Mwah. I love you too. But your claws cannot go into my leg like that. So I'm going to put you down next to me and I'll stroke you while I talk. All right? Here we go. There we are. You happy? Is that better? Good trade-off. Okay. How can you tell you're hitting your limits? So, okay. So example, I told you I was quitting vaping, right? So I knew that I was reaching a difficult point with the giving up smoking or giving up the nicotine part when I was having unusual thoughts with regards to what I usually feel about certain circumstances, whether it was sitting down to play my favorite city building game, or whether it was spending time with my partner, whether it was eating. When I had unusual thoughts come into my head, that was when I was like, whoa, you don't usually think like that, dude. Like, what's going on? And then I'd be like, oh, yeah, you haven't had nicotine in a while. Okay, fine. So that's when I would be aware. So either they're louder, more prominent thoughts that would kick in more often, or it would be when I had a thought that was like, that is not like you to think like that, my friend. What is going on here? Right? And that would be how I would know if I was hitting the limits of any kind of stress. Right. And again, I mean, I'm actually doing an external course. So I'm studying still, by the way. So everyone out there who thinks it's going to be too late to learn, I'm literally doing a course right now that's open on my laptop downstairs right now, studying for a course. So never stopped. And I'm not very good in educational setting. So actually, it does give me a lot of stress. And I knew that stress was getting to me when I delayed it and procrastinated until I was like thinking things that I was like, Dan, that is so unlike you to think like that. Like, come on, that is so unlike you and unfair to you to think like that. And that's when I was like, okay, we're getting to a point now where we need to do something about this because this is ridiculous. We can't be thinking like this. So that's how I would know that I was hitting my limits. Sometimes you could be intuitively, you could feel it. You could feel that almost a nausea or like something in your chest, between your chest and your gut, this like weird knotty sensation that kind of sits around here. That can sometimes tell you you're getting towards the limit. You're getting there. How could you manage these responses? Well, simple. You see this little circle on the right-hand side here. It's just been going in and out. Slow down your breathing. It slows down your heart rate and actually brings you back into control. Breathing exercises, honestly, are great. People hate it. They really do. I know. Well, I'll say people hate it. I've had students in one-to-ones where they've just been like, oh, all the counselor's done is ask me to breathe. I'm like, I only laugh because I understand how silly it sounds. I totally get it. Like, breathe. I do that anyway, and I'm still stressed. Why is breathing going to help me relax? Come on. But it's not breathing. It's how we breathe. It's how that's what it is. We can raise our heart rate and increase our stress levels by hyperventilating. We breathe faster, right? And we can actually cause ourselves a whole physiological change, right? But if we slowed our breathing down, then actually what we'll find is our heart rate can drop. And that can actually help us feel genuinely more relaxed. That's all. They're just more relaxed. It doesn't solve our problems, which is probably why we don't like the idea of breathing, because it doesn't solve anything. Whereas actually there can be no solutions to the problem sometimes, other than time and waiting. But slow breathing can really just slow us down for a second. One of my favorite things, again, is one of my favorite lessons is slow down to speed up, right? Slow down to speed up. So if we give ourselves moments to pause and we just breathe, then what we're able to do is come up with better solutions or come up with a better perspective on how to deal with a situation. Over the weekend, whenever I got those really strong pangs of tension and frustration because of course the nicotine deficiency, I would literally just sit in it. I would almost stop anything I was doing, just sat and felt it. And I would just sit and wait until eventually my mind would realize that it wasn't going to get what it wanted and it would get distracted and do something else. Every single time I would just sit in it. I'd be like, damn, wow, I really want nicotine right now. Wow, my body is really having a response to this. Okay, fine. All right. Bloody hell, this is difficult. Okay. And eventually it would just go away. It would just go away, honestly. And it would try and peak. And I'd be like, whoa, you're really pushing at me, man. Like, because I think about when I quit before or tried to quit when I was younger. I would just get so stressed and I wouldn't know how to manage it. And it felt like it was overwhelming. It felt like it would take over me. And I would, it's like, it was weird. I felt like if I didn't react to it, something terrible was going to happen. But actually, no, nothing bad happens. What happens is it grows and grows and grows and grows until eventually it just pops and disappears. And you don't even notice it pops. You just get distracted and you just start doing something. It doesn't actually pop. It doesn't actually like You're not like, oh, okay, it's gone. Let me go and do something. No, you just start doing something. But I didn't allow myself to get there previously. So I would get angry and frustrated, and then I'd have a cigarette back when I smoked, or I'd vape again, and and it wouldn't work out. But yeah, you just sit with it and wait. There we go. It's important to be mindful of what causes you stress. Finding out what exactly is causing it can help you resolve it, or at least come to terms with it. Be aware when you procrastinate, delay, or avoid. This can also just perpetuate the stress. The stress can just keep on going forever and ever and ever. Our minds are not designed to consider 10,000 different things at once. This is very, very real for us to think about. We really, really are not, in our minds, neurologically designed. I don't think we ever will be designed to consider and process the opinions, thoughts, and beliefs of 10,000 different people out there in the world at once, which is why the internet really can also be very harmful to our anxiety, because what we end up inadvertently trying to do is trying to, appease all these people, these strange people on the internet, and all these like strangers. And we hear this opinion about this thing, and this is stupid, and this is trendy, but this is cancelled, and this is not okay, and that's okay, and think like this, but don't think like this. Now we're saying this, that's not cool anymore. Oh my God, like, no, because these will be people saying this, not realizing they're broadcasting from America to India, from China to Pakistan, from Russia to South Africa. And we don't really pick up the fact that that's not happening in our immediate environment. That's probably happening in Tennessee, right? That's happening in Ohio. That's happening in Guatemala. That's happening in Vancouver. But it's not happening in Bristol, where we are. It's not happening here. Ain't nobody in Bristol saying that. That's 10,000 miles away, 5,000 miles away. That's in a whole community somewhere else in the world where a whole bunch of different stuff's happening. Why do we care about what's going on over there? Let's just focus on what we want to do in our lives here and where we are. Never mind Bristol, because there's a load of different things happening in Bristol as well. Never mind that. What do we want to do? How do we want to live? What do we think is cool? Let's roll with that. Try it. Give it a go. Sorry, Dexter. I keep forgetting that I'm stroking him, so I rest my hand on his head, and then I just leave it there. And he's like, "Buddy, stroke me." I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry. It's all right, isn't it? You forgive me? You forgive me? Yeah, okay, cool. I'm forgiven. All right. Do one thing at a time. 100%. Govinda and I speak on this. We spoke on this last time. One thing at a time. We cannot, again, we certainly when it's stressful things, if we, and I'll still experience this. Sorry, mate. I'll still experience this. If I'm trying to think about doing loads of different things at once, I will get stressed and I will procrastinate and I will do none of them. And it still happens to this day, right? I have to catch myself and going, Dan, you're trying to do everything at once. Slow down. What thing needs to happen first? Take it in your stride. And I've just realized I've actually done this without even thinking about it with the things that I've got going on at the moment. So yeah, one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Pace yourself, take your own time, take breaks if necessary, and cut off from what we cannot change. Literally, if you can't do anything about it at this point in your life, try and avoid considering it, or at least acknowledge there's a time. I actually read a funny story today about a guy who grew up in a household where his father had been telling him straight up that the only reason he had his son was for someone to look after him when he got older. That was it. And it wasn't a nice story. And obviously the guy telling the story was like, I couldn't change anything about that. I can't change why my reasons for my dad having me. But he said the moment I was 20 years old, I dipped. I left my dad. I moved out. I haven't spoken to him since. I'm sure there were other things going on. But what he did was he took agency and control over what he could change, which was not how his dad felt, but how he felt about his value in his life. That's what he did. And it sucks that he went through that experience. But the thing is, yeah, he didn't try and stick around and try and change the way his dad felt, because he couldn't. There was nothing he could do about that. Instead, what he did was just like, right, you've brought me into this world for a reason that is selfish to you. I'm going to give myself a reason to be here, and I'm going to go off and do what I want to do. It's powerful, for sure. So there's also diet and movement, right? So I'm going to show up some pictures here that reflect what immediately donuts. Why? stress-induced diets and stress-induced activity, right? Things that we might do or consume that don't make us feel great. Now, bear in mind, a donut, I'm going to say this, a donut here or there is fine. A donut here or there is absolutely fine. And I mean here or there, like once or twice a week. Yeah? I don't want anyone out there thinking if you have one donut, then it's all over. Because I know that what happens in our minds is we think, I can't ever have a donut. If I have this one donut, the floodgates are open. I might as well eat all the donuts, because eating one donut, according to some Puritans out there, is no different from eating 100 donuts. So I'm going to have one, and then I'm going to have 5, because screw it, right? There is no difference. There is a difference. Have 1 or 2 a week. You can gift yourself a donut. That is absolutely fine. And that is the same for all of the things that I'm going to show you here. You can gift yourself a fizzy drink every now and then, but not every day. No. Burgers, fast food. Burgers, actually, I would say generally are pretty all right. You know, if they're home cooked. Caffeine's another one, and coffee. I'm working on the next step after nicotine is actually slowly cutting back on my caffeine intake. I've actually done really well. I used to, when I worked in restaurants, I had like 5 or 6 on average coffees a day, and that would be any time between, I'd say, 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. I had 5 or 6 coffees a day. The problem with that is that I would also sleep really poorly, because it took me a long time to learn that caffeine stays in your system for up to 12 hours. So I would sleep really badly, because when I needed to go to sleep, I would have coffee in my system, and then I'd wonder why the hell I couldn't go to sleep. So if anyone's out there possibly drinking caffeine and energy drinks, possibly, this isn't the same for everyone. Some people can drink caffeine and go to sleep just fine. But for some people, if you drink caffeine and you have problems sleeping, I would put those things together first. Genuinely. If you drink caffeine anytime after the 12 hours before you should go to bed, I would look into that. Because honestly, the moment I started drinking coffee, and I set my target now, I don't drink any coffee. I have 2 coffees maximum a day, and I don't drink them any later, what did I say, than 10 a.m. Even though now I go to bed around 9ish. But I still say no later than 10 a.m. If it passes 10 a.m. and I haven't had a coffee, I haven't had my 2 coffees, I don't have 2 coffees. I can't. Because it will be in my system at 10 a.m. when I should be asleep. So try that. Try that. It'll be tough at first. It'll be tough at first. And I'll say this now. Because caffeine has kept you awake, your body's got used to having that drug in your system. It is a drug in your system. And so will be reliant on that drug to wake up. For the first week, I'm going to say, for the first week, and the same for nicotine, I'm still in that kind of nicotine deficiency area, which is probably why I'm talking so much, because this has actually distracted me so much from wanting a vape. Seriously, I really have not wanted one or Jones one at all until I've just brought it up. But for the first week, you're going to feel tired. You're going to feel crap. It's going to suck. But then slowly what happens is your body is starting to recalculate and reacclimatize to not needing caffeine, or at least not as much. So if you just cut back and say have one energy drink or coffee in the morning and leave it there, you'll also notice that your sleep should get better, at least more regular, and so on and so forth, right? Better, not great, not amazing, because there's probably other things going on in your life that you'll need to work through, but better. That's what I say. Chocolate, no joy. Processed sugars, you know, not too much of it. I've eaten far too much of these in the last 2 months, but hey, there you go. But yeah, that's going to do damage for your skin, obviously, your mouth health, your breath, yuck. Generally, your insides, it's not good. But again, you can have some. It's fine. I think actually someone said 1 chocolate bar a day. I think that's okay. Like 1 dairy milk, but not like a Snickers Duo. That doesn't count. There we go. Energy drinks. I would challenge personally that sometimes I think people think that it's just a meme that old people hate energy drinks, right? And it's just memeified. It's just one big thing that we do. But I'm actually really going to sit here and genuinely say, I understand why people might need energy drinks. But what we've got to be conscious of is that Red Bull particularly, and Relentless and Monster, they're more traditionally sold to like adrenaline junkies. You know, if you look at every Red Bull activity, it is something where someone is doing something ridiculous. Like they're throwing themselves out of a plane. They're driving at 400 miles an hour. They're flying on the side of a plane. You know, they're in a wingsuit going 250 miles an hour along the side of a mountain. They're diving off of like 100-meter diving boards. They are driving backwards down a soapbox derby track. You know, they're deep sea diving underwater. They're doing Red Bull air races. They're not sat in a classroom for 2 hours trying to stay awake. So I'm not gonna crap over energy drinks and say they're bad for you, but I am gonna say, if you're gonna drink energy drinks, at least do something exciting with it. Seriously, even Monster, you know, they support touring cars and stuff like that. They don't sponsor kids going to classrooms and falling asleep, which is what's happened many times with students with energy drinks. So that's not it. Basically what I'm saying is that's not it. That's not it. I know gamers and streamers drink it, but bear in mind again, even in that sense, okay, people are going to say, oh, but what about streamers and gamers and so on? People on Twitch, this is their job. Their job is to be entertaining, to be lively, to be energetic, basically to do this, but not for an hour and 15 minutes, for 5 hours, 6 hours a day. I remember when I did YouTube, I could do 3 hours of recording back to back, and I would start to flag badly. I would literally stop having stuff to say. I'd run out of things to say. I would get sick and tired of talking, right? After 3 hours. But these people have to do it every day for 5-6 hours solid and be entertaining as well. They're going to need they'll pick up. They're going to need something to help them stay alert and, you know, on the ball all the time. So yeah, they'll have energy drinks. But again, they're not sat in a classroom falling asleep, or they're not sat down listening to someone talk. They're the one talking. Now, if you were to walk into a classroom every day and present for 2 hours, fine. I'd be like, fair play, get a Red Bull in, get an energy drink in, sure. But if you're going into the classroom to sit down and listen to someone talk, that's not what you need. That is not what you need at all. Because what it does is it doesn't make you alert and able to focus. It makes you alert and able to respond. That's what it does. It doesn't help you with focusing, it helps you with response. But the problem is that if you find yourself falling asleep or losing focus in the classroom, that's because you're looking for things to respond to. But in a classroom, generally, there isn't always something to respond to. So you find yourself disengaging. Then you think, oh, I'm getting tired. Let me get another energy drink. No. That's not it. That is not it. So that's the case you're going to make it against energy drinks. And that's why also it's stressful, by the way, because, yeah, it's about response. And you've got nothing to respond to. So that's why it's not going to work for you at all. Not a good thing. And of course, yeah, pizzas and fast food again. I would say that it's primarily the number of fats and carbs in these. Again, carbs are good for you. Carbs are great. Marathon runners eat carbs, right? So carbs are not bad. But what it is that they're long-burning energy. Long-burning energy. Protein is short-burning energy. Carbs is long-burning energy, which is why distance runners and so on eat a lot of carbs, because it's long-burning energy. It's good for that, which is also why we might have more carbs in the morning, like our toast and our bread, because that's long-burning energy that lasts through the day, which is also why cereal companies promote high in carbs and fiber, because it's going to help you stay regular and energized through the day. There we go. Stress-induced activity, getting angry at stuff. So this guy, for example, trashing his whole bedroom. This I stress completely. Lashing out at stuff, getting violent, not good for us. Not good for us at all. We think it makes us feel better because what's happened is the energy within us has reached a point where it needs to come out. It has to come out in some way, right? And it needs to be externalized, which is also part of that see red activity where we go blind with rage, which again is not a place that we want to get to ever, right? We don't want to get there. So, and at least if we have got there, we've got to at least be prepared for the consequences of our actions, right? Obviously, the whole thing of I saw red, I went blind with rage. Okay, still doesn't stop the fact that what you did was not okay. Doesn't matter. It does not matter at all. You still did something wrong. So stress-inducing activities, violence only, it doesn't actually resolve stress. It doesn't. And I think you could even, the thing is, you could speak to martial artists, you could speak to boxers and so on and so forth. And the thing is that in that, because I've trained a little bit in kickboxing and boxing and stuff like that. there's a difference between just lashing out at something like a wall, or in this case, a cupboard, or another human being, and actually having to, because when you're a trained fighter, you actually have to take a lot of discipline into account. You actually have to be under a lot of control, because boxing is a skill and an art. Kickboxing is a skill and an art. Any form of combat is a skill and an art when taken seriously. And actually, one of the cardinal rules of it is that you do not take it out into the street. That's one of the cardinal rules, because you can have all your medals, your rewards, your qualifications taken away from you if you're caught doing it in the street. You'll have it all stripped from you. So, yeah, it's actually not healthy, because it requires zero discipline, zero self-awareness. It requires no control. It doesn't require any good thing. What it shows is a base animalistic response that requires no intellect, nothing. It requires the least of us. And I speak to this directly because I'm very conscious that certainly in the gaming community, amongst young men, there's this idea that violence is an appropriate or healthy way to unleash rage or stress or anger. It is not. Absolutely not. It is not at all. Never has been, never will be. It is a base, lazy response to a buildup of something that we should have dealt with way before that. Way before that. So yeah, it's not good. It's not a good response at all. And actually all it does is it leaves us feeling perhaps maybe embarrassed, ashamed. We might feel a little bit calmer, but that's because the stress has left us. But what causes stress is still there, but we're not paying attention to that. It will come back again and again and again. So yeah, this isn't it. This isn't it. Being violent with stuff, generally, no, unless we are being trained in how to, control that and do it in a way that is tactful and thoughtful. No. Self-induced activity, of course. Yeah, pretty much doing nothing, being bored as hell. Sometimes. And I say this carefully because being bored, there's been studies that show that actually being bored is good for us, because our mind can try to practice and sit and do nothing, and that can be great. But I think what we want to be careful of is doing nothing when we know there is something we should be doing, or know that there's something playing on us. I had this conversation with a student recently where they said, they're very, very busy a lot of the time. And I think, speak to this directly, what's important to spot is that if you're find you've got something to do, or you should be doing something, and you're doing nothing, either at that point you decide that you are absolutely going to dedicate the next half an hour, or whatever time you have to doing nothing, and then sit in that, which is not going to be stressful, and do that. Or you do the thing that supposedly should be done, get that out of the way, and then do nothing. The point about this is this stress-induced activity is when you're just kicking around doing nothing, but applying pressure on yourself that you should be doing something, that's when it's stress-induced. But if you're doing nothing and you're perfectly happy with doing nothing, and your nothing is fine and you're okay, that's not stress-inducing. No. Do nothing and live in it, or do something and then do nothing and live in it. But don't do nothing and live somewhere else. That's not great. That doesn't help anyone. No. Obviously, endless scrolling. We know that one. Having bad friends. We go back into this again. Being around people that do not give us life. Stop it. Everyone, stop it now. Cut it out. Not good. So stress-reduced diet. Oh, hello.
Hi.
Oh, Kyla. Hi. Hello. How are you?
Good, you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I'm literally coming to the last bits of this. So we're going to go into stress-reduced diet and stress-reduced activity. We've gone through a whole hour and 20 minutes. I say me.
Okay.
So actually, this is a good time for you, because what you can start to look at is stuff that's going to help you reduce any kind of levels of stress you have, and help. Not reduce it completely, but just help, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, then. So first of all, of course, you probably heard this one loads, Kyla, actually, is drink lots of water. Anyway,
Yep.
yeah, drink water. I think I'll
Not
say
every
this.
day.
Sorry? Say that again. Kyla?
Yes.
Oh, you're there. Say that again. You said something. I missed it.
Yeah, like every day.
Every day. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Drinking water every day. In fact, I'm aware I've run out of tea and I don't have my water up here, and I'm sad. So yeah. And I think this is one of the things that I would say. I didn't drink a lot of water when I was younger, but I didn't realize the benefits of it until I started drinking water. And then every now and then I just would miss like a couple of days where I wouldn't drink water. And I would start to feel really down. I'd start to feel a bit hazy, start to feel a bit miserable, and just a bit meh. And I'd realize, oh my God, I haven't drunk water. And while I wasn't thirsty, I would like get like a pint glass and down a load of water, and I would just immediately go, right, that's what the problem was. So sometimes drinking water genuinely can be really beneficial. Obviously, getting our 5 a day naturally. So being able to get in our 5 a day really can help. And it can be in any which way we find fit, right? Our vegetables, our fruit, and so on and so forth. There are loads of different ways we can do that. But, you know, whichever way we find. Having, I guess, a happy breakfast in the morning. Having a nice breakfast. But also, to be fair, picking the right fats to eat. So I don't know if you know this, Kyla, but I know that there's this message around fats being bad for us, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know about good fats? Have you heard about good fats before?
No.
No. Okay, then. So I'll be the first to introduce you to good fats. So, the idea that all fats are bad is a load of nonsense, right? There are fats, of course, that are bad for us, and we can see those in things like, you know, butter or lard and so on and so forth. But actually, there's fats in things like avocados. There's fats in, nuts, like peanuts and stuff like that actually are beneficial to us. Now, obviously not too many of them, but if we have just enough of them, so a bit of olive oil is fine and so on and so forth, then actually that's really good for our body. There's a really good amount of nutrients in there, and that can be really good for our system because we need those things. All of the things that supposedly are bad for us, all these diets that are on like, you know, no carb, low carb diets and no fat diets, yada, yada. They're all nonsense because our body needs all of these things. It requires all of these things to function. So instead of cutting things out, it's actually better for us to just be more conscious of how much of each of these things we're getting. That's the key thing here. Now, this is actually dark chocolate. Dark chocolate's actually all right for us and actually is known to reduce stress. Primarily because, obviously, for one, it doesn't have the processed sugars in it, so it's going to be a bit more bitter. But actually, it's closer to what chocolate is supposed to taste like, because the sweet stuff, obviously, that's the sugar. That's not actually the chocolate bean or the cocoa bean that we've been thinking, you know, has been harvested for our chocolate. That's sugar that we're tasting, that we're getting addicted to. Whereas the darker chocolate stuff, which is a little bit bitter, actually is very good for us. And of course, not if we eat a whole load of it. But yeah, go on, Kyla.
No, I just said okay.
Yeah, good, excellent.
Yeah.
Stress reduced activities. So I think I'm trying to think why I did this. Maybe it's just because, one, it's an animated GIF, and I quite like using animated GIFs. If you hadn't guessed.
Yeah.
But just you could tell, right? Little activities like these that can just keep our fingers busy, right? Can be really nice. I'm trying to think if I picked something up recently. I can't remember what the last thing I picked up that I quite enjoyed. But no, just picking little things up. I mean, I guess for me, it is video games, to be fair. I play non-violent video games, and they're very peaceful and relaxing, and very much stress reducing because they take me out of the world where all of the stuff that's going on in my life is. And of course, I limit how much I'm there, but generally I'll do that. But if we find anything that lowers our stress, something that takes our mind off things, can be really helpful. Obviously, our favorite music, generally. Spending time with good people. And something active always helps. And sometimes just being outside, basically. Just being outside can really help us reduce stress. One thing that human beings aren't particularly good with there is obviously being locked within 4 walls. That's why prisons are designed the way they are. But even then, there's a reason that prisons also have, like, basically playgrounds where the guys can go outside and, you know, maybe work out or sit on a bench or something. Because being... Go on.
It's only for an hour, like every week.
Mm-hmm.
I think they at least need like 2 hours a day, like, to do it. Yeah,
they would need a lot of time for sure.
Yeah.
But still, I think it says a lot that even in prison they need to go outside at least once a week, which isn't a lot, but the idea could be that it's forever, right? That they don't ever get to go outside. But they still let them out. So we've got to consider that in our own lives, you know, that we really want to get outside enough and be out there. Also playing board games or playing some kind of puzzle game and something cerebral, that works our mind. That can be really, really beneficial as well. That can be really good.
Yeah.
So, Kyla, with everything that you've just learned, what can you start doing differently?
Don't get too stressed out.
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you what, actually, what I'll ask is, here's what we'll do. I'm going to run through the suggestions here, Kyla. Then I'm going to stop recording. And then, yeah, we can have a quick, 5-minute rundown on what kind of everything was and so on. Is that all right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Perfect. Okay, so here's our suggestions on what you can do. So first of all, set boundaries on what we will or can take when it comes to stress. So literally when we reach a point where we're like, I can't take this anymore, make sure we stop taking it, right?
Yeah.
Changing our social media feeds. So if we find that things on social media don't bring us joy or make us feel anxious or nervous or unsettled in some way, maybe stop following that or stop consuming it altogether. Changing our diet, eating things that make us feel better, make us feel healthier, and just lessening the stuff that does harm our mental well-being and our physical well-being. And of course, changing the activities we engage in, right? Changing the people we speak to. Oh, and that is it. That is it. All right, those are the things that we could start to do differently. So if I leave that, I've stopped sharing. Here we go. We're here. Oh gosh, I don't have my light in my face. The whole time I was just in a dark room. How sad. Okay, so then.
You are still recording.
I'm going to stop recording. Thank you to all of those who watched this on the playback. Hope you've enjoyed me talking for literally an hour and a half. My God, I didn't think I could do it, but I did. But I'll see you all in the next session. Thank you very much for coming, and thank you very much for watching this back. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.